Good morning, Dubai. How are you doing? And welcome back to the Lovin Dubai show, where we go through all the trending stories. It's Sunday, and we have such an exciting show happening for you today. Later, we have Nick from Team Angel Wolf in studio. We're going to be talking all about racing season in Dubai. We're also be talking about the worst and best government services listed by His Highness Sheikh Mohammed, along with the fact that an Aston Martin Vantage has just been added to the Dubai police fleet.
But Casey, I must say, only you can say it's Sunday with so much excitement.
Bring in the energy. Got to do it.
Only you can. But other than that, we'll be talking about Sheikh Mohammed bin Zayed visits Afghan refugees during their stopover in the UAE, and vada pav covered in 22 karat gold can now be found at this restaurant.
Incredible. 22 karat gold. Imagine having the money to buy something that was 22k gold.
It is.
How do you get to that point?
It's so affordable though. When I know,
but it's affordable.
Very affordable.
Interesting.
Like ridiculously affordable. But can you, like, you know, if I own a restaurant in Dubai, literally the first thing I would do to get my menu in this scene is cover something in gold.
Yeah, true. But how do you get to the point that you have a restaurant in Dubai?
Maybe win a big ticket.
Maybe win a big ticket.
Yeah. So in the elevator this morning, I was telling Casey, I just heard a bunch of people, from the same office, not randomly. And they're just like, oh man, not even one number came on the ticket last night. Not even one number. And they all got it together. And they're just like, man. And I'm like, oh, I'm so glad I never jumped on the big ticket bandwagon. Because it's like such a...
Oh, but it's such a dream. Like, what was it? 12 million someone won yesterday, an expat?
Oh, but if you win it, oof. Insane. But I would always go into it as with sharing the ticket. I would never go into it alone.
That's such a risky business. Now, first of all, these tickets, like, it's not a couple of, I think it's like 100 something dirham per ticket or something. So maybe it's like, okay, it's a lot of money, so let's do it together. I love that idea. It's a very nice idea. Mm-hmm. But what happens when you win? And like, let's say someone forgot to pay that week, or like you're doing the syndicate, right? It's famous, like people do syndicates all over the world for lotteries.
Yeah.
And what if someone forgets to pay, or
that person doesn't get the money then?
But what if they've paid every other week and they're just it's just a bit of a tricky one. Does the money get shared out evenly? Like, I love the idea. And it's such a team bonding thing, and then everyone's like, oh, are we going to win?
But, I mean, but to get the ticket yourself every month, it's quite an expense. And then if you split it, it's like what, 20 bucks or something per month. And then if you win it 12 million, for example, and you divide it equally between 5 persons, it's still a lot of money.
I want to see the story of a syndicate in the UAE winning the big ticket lottery, and then they'll just be like, like a work syndicate, and they'll be like, here's a resignation. Off I go with my millions.
Peace.
That would be the dream.
Have you ever been in an office where they do those kind of lottery things within the office? No. So in my previous workplace, every month they would give in their Emirates IDs, and I think they would give in $100 each, and there were like 10 of them, and each would give 100 and give their IDs, and then one person would just randomly pick out an Emirates ID, and that person would collect all the money.
That's fun.
It's like an in-office lottery.
Yeah, I love that for like sports and stuff, when there's like big matches on and people try and figure out who's going to win.
That's quite cute. I mean, office bonding things, like you said, just group bonding sessions.
Group bonding.
Office bonding.
But guys, jumping into our top stories as always, we see you on Instagram, we see you on Facebook. Good morning, Krishna. Good morning, Nadir. He said, hear me. We hear you. We also see you. But keep your comments coming in. Let us know as always where you're watching from. We'd love to know who's watching, who's listening. But we're going to jump into a Dubai story. His Highness Sheikh Mohammed has listed the best and worst government services. So His Highness Sheikh Mohammed bin Rashid Al Maktoum, Vice President and Prime Minister of the UAE and ruler of Dubai, he shared the best and worst digital services within UAE government entities. The aim of this is to ensure that transparency is the utmost importance, and to ensure that the digitalized services offered by the UAE government are in check and also at pace with global trends, up to standard, and that you, most importantly as residents, are super happy with the services that you're getting. So if you've answered a questionnaire about government services in the last couple of months, you've actually possibly contributed to this, which I think is pretty cool. They had 55,000 people responded. They're focusing on government services that are digital. And now we know the best and worst performing agencies in the UAE, and we're going to list them out, However, it's worth noting that the worst performers, it's not just a list and it's not just like a congratulations to the top guys and then kind of a, come on guys, pick it up. The worst performing agencies actually have 90 days to take immediate action. And if they don't improve, they will be reevaluated and then further action taken. So it's quite a kick, a little bit of a reminder that if they didn't make it, and this is obviously coming from the top office. So first of all, let's bring you the top performing government services. At number 5, UAE Ministry of Community Development. At number 4, UAE Ministry Climate Change and Environment. Incredible to see them at the top, amazing. Nice. Number 3, Ministry of Foreign Affairs and International Cooperation. And do you want to bring us number 2 and 1?
Federal Authority for Identity and Citizenship.
Well, they've had a very busy year with all of the visa stuff going through.
For sure. No, like the whole COVID period and ICA approvals, GDRFA approvals, God, and like the amount of things they've had to roll out, new, just like the, very quick website links and all of that.
Yeah, so incredibly busy year.
Portals, sorry.
In at number 1, shout out, should we do it together, to the incredible UAE
United Arab Emirates
Ministry of Interiors. Well done. They are probably going to be celebrating. They deserve it. They are the best performing government service. Congratulations to you guys. However, now we're going to go to the worst performing services. Voted by you, evaluated by you, and shouted out, called out by the ruler of Dubai as he wants to see improvement. He wants fast action, 90 days to improve. We're going to read out the 5 worst performing services. Number 5, Ministry of Energy and Infrastructure. Number 4,
General Pension and Social Security Authority.
Number 3, Securities and Commodities Authority. Number 2,
Federal Tax Authority.
And very surprising, the worst performing government agency this year was in fact the Ministry of Education.
Well, I have some thoughts on that one. Just kidding. Yeah, it is quite surprising. That is not KHDA, is it?
No, so KHDA is the Knowledge Human Development Dubai Authority for schools. The Ministry of Education would be kind of the entire government school service that kind of, I think, sits above. Of course, they've had a very difficult year to contend with, like we all have. I think actually every single government service would have been affected because previous to COVID, although we are a very future-driven city, there also was a lot of in-person transactions that were taking place, and now they're really trying to go digitize with a lot of stuff. So there's been a massive change in the digitalized services, but they're saying actually in digitalized services now of Ministry of Education, they really need to step up their game. And I think what happened last year is the worst performing services, if they didn't step up their game, the kind of people at the very top of so not the people, the low-lying employees, the people at the very top were removed, redistributed. And then also the people at the top of the top performing agencies would then be moved to the bottom performing agencies. So kind of it's revolving. Okay. So people are getting experience in all different agencies and people are kind of bringing their great knowledge to, let's say, the lesser performing agencies so they improve.
That's so interesting. And plus, like you said, before COVID, you would have a template or an idea of where you want the services going, where you want to lead your team. But then with COVID coming in, you're just like, you have to take a step back, reevaluate everything, change how things are done, change processes. So it is a big change for government things. And I'm sure like for some, it was a slower, they implemented things in a much slower pace and couldn't keep up as much as other government entities, thus the list. But it's great that these kind of things are there where it's like the transparency for us, like, okay, this is now, it's out in the public, these are the best performing, these are the worst performing, you guys need to step up your game. So that's like great, the transparency.
Agreed.
But moving on to our next story, which is so wholesome. Now, Sheikh Mohammed bin Zayed visits Afghan refugees during their stopover in the UAE. Now, over the weekend, Sheikh Mohammed bin Zayed, Crown Prince of Abu Dhabi and Deputy Supreme Commander of the UAE Armed Forces, shared a series of tweets where he spoke of his visit to Emirates Humanitarian City in Dubai to meet Afghan refugees and examine the arrangements made for them. Now, as the UAE will be hosting a number of Afghan families on their way to third countries, now during his visit, the Abu Dhabi Crown Prince, lovingly referred to as the MPZ, was briefed on the services and amenities that will be provided to these evacuees, and Sheikh Mohammed assured the guests that the UAE will provide a comfortable and dignified stays dignified stay along with their adequate materials for their onward journey. Now, if you're watching on Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, you can see the pictures beside us, and it's just MBC taking selfies with these guests and speaking to them in person, and just the meet and greet and the whole thing. Now, His Highness further stressed that the UAE is committed to its humanitarian duty and mission towards those vulnerable by providing them with the necessary humanitarian assistance. Now, you know, when I saw this on his Twitter, I was not even shocked one bit, because the royals in the UAE are known to just go out of their way for so many things. Especially for this, he could have easily just put out a tweet, put out a message saying, welcome to Dubai, welcome to the UAE, we will assure that your stay here is as comfortable as possible. But you know, he took that extra step of actually going, meeting them in person, assuring them, checking that all arrangements are made, you know, made in a way that's dignified for their stay. And it just shows such great leadership. It's such a wonderful example of good leadership.
100%. Like I agree so much. Like this is it was such an important visit at the same time. These people have been through so much. We're talking about third countries, but whether or not they'll probably soon find out where they're going, but they're in such a kind of an unstable period. Yeah. But to be welcomed to a new country just after the traumatic, we have no idea what they went through, the traumatic experiences they've been through, to be welcomed by the leader of the UAE, and then the selfies, like it's such a kind of an open arms moment. Yeah. And I think all of us were kind of touched by the images. So just fantastic leadership, and also a really important step for the people to really feel welcomed here in the UAE.
Very true. I got goosebumps when you were saying that.
Like it's such a great story. Like we talk about the leaders here constantly, like in kind of different parts of society, but like this is such a fantastic story. This is really so amazing to see.
And MBC is so good with kids, like just taking that selfie with that child. It was so cute, and he's done so many cute things with children before. Like there was this one girl who was waving a flag, or she was saying hi to him, but he just walked past, and then someone showed him the video afterwards, and he personally went and met the girl.
So good, I love it.
You covered that. It was amazing. It was so sweet. Like, oh, the UAE royals are just something else.
Yeah, we talk about being people, but they really are leaders of the people, and there's constant stories like this that are just constant reminders. However, another story that's actually meant to drive public engagement, but in a different way, the Aston Martin Vantage has been added to the Dubai police fleet. Another incredibly slick car has just joined the already incredibly slick Dubai police fleet. It's kitted out in full livery, complete and already ready to hit the road. So it's the agile, performance-driven Vantage. Will be seen on the roads alongside the collection of sports and supercars already used. Now, these are used to service the police force and also to drive public engagement. So, for example, if you're a tourist or a resident and you spot a police car, that's potentially, I'm going to run through a list of some of the cars, like a Bentayga, like that gets you interested in Dubai police. It gets you wanting to hear more about them, and you'll know yourself, or we're probably quite aware that whenever we share stories about Dubai police, the engagement is huge. Like people are very appreciative and supportive of the work that they do, and this is just kind of like a fun element to what they do. Like just seeing like some of these cars are ridiculous, like an Aston Martin 177, a Lykan Hypersport, Audi R8, Bentley Continental, Bentley Bentayga, a couple of BMWs. Like what they have is incredible.
What? Do we have to join the police force to be able to get one of these cars? Oh.
Yes. Like,
will you guys take us?
Bentaygas, I think, cost similar to what apartments cost. Like they're just. But I would live in one. It's really nice. Got nice leather. They're so fancy.
Right. If you have one of these cars, like, that's it. No more apartments. No more villas. Just stay in that car.
But the thing about these is they, for example, you'll see stories of like, let's say, children who have need for a wish. Let's say if they have health issues or something like that, and Dubai police will bring the sports car to their house, and they have like, they can sometimes get kitted out in the police uniform. Like we've seen gorgeous stories. So yes, they're driving public engagement, but also there are incredible community stories that they use these cars to uplift the community, which is just fab.
We need a little uplifting, just saying, putting it out there.
They've come to our office.
with the cool cars. Where was I? Where was Jackie?
That was probably like one of the most. Where was Jackie? That was probably like one of the most level up moments we ever had. Dubai police car came down to our JLT tower. Hala got to get in and have a little drive.
Of course,
Hala, we see you. And actually, it was a Dubai police woman, and they had a really nice drive. It was probably a good while ago, but
okay,
maybe time for another spin. Right? You can actually drive, can't you? So you can.
I hope it's manual. Like show off my manual skills. But imagine like the police force and like your colleague gets the fancy car, and you're just like, okay, when is it my turn? How do they decide who gets the fancy cars? Okay,
Simran has put the question out there. When is it her turn? Hopefully someone can answer because I don't know. It's an awkward one.
Awkward. I guess never. Anyway. Actually, no. Okay, fine. If there's any way you want to sit in a police car, it's this way and not any other way.
Absolutely. Goes without saying.
For the ride. Scary. Anyway, moving on. Now, vada pav covered in 22 karat gold can now be found at this restaurant. Now, just when you thought you'd heard it all, a Dubai restaurant in Karama comes up with yet another only in Dubai moment to make you go, wow. You want to say it?
Wow.
Wow. Ali, that's your thing. Is that Ali? Because he's not speaking. I thought it was Richie.
Well, Ali has. I was worried that the buzzer was going to come out for that one. I feel like that was necessary enough.
Okay, we're good. Anyway, so at Dubai Cafe, Opao just switched things up and embellished their vada pav with a 22 karat covering. Now, the popular Indian dish has undergone a proper Dubai makeover at this restaurant, and ingredients include truffle butter, which is your favorite truffle, cheese, of course. So, did you just do this?
Yeah, I would say it's my fave.
So remember we ordered truffle pizza somewhere and you're just like, oh, I love truffle.
The smell is delicious, but like an overload would be too much.
Right.
Yeah, right. Truffle butter still sounds yum.
I've never had, but anyway, soft toasted buns and of course the 22 karat gold sheet. Now surprisingly affordable, the karat or gold vada pav priced at 1999 dirhams comes with a sweet combo of a mint lemonade plus sweet potato fries, and definitely worth the price in my opinion. But if you were wondering what a vada pav is, here is a quick backstory. It's a vegetarian fast food dish originally more popular in Mumbai, India, and that's deep fried in potato it's got a deep fried potato dumpling that they put inside a bread bun, sliced almost in half but not completely sliced, just like there's a little bit of like attachment in the bun, and usually it's also served with chutneys and a green chili pepper, but depending on one's preference, of course, you can have it completely plain if that's how you like it, like me, intolerant to spice. But that's so cool. I love the story.
Are you running to try it?
I am dying to try it. It's 99 bucks and like it's got gold. I'm sure there are some benefits to having gold.
I hate eating, like, not that I've done it much, but I understand why restaurants would put gold on things because we always talk about it because it's very Dubai.
Yeah.
But it just seems,
there
silly.
are some health benefits to it, you know. Like I googled it. There's something to it.
You get a gold stomach after you eat it.
I mean, what would you do with a gold stomach? It's got health properties, and you know, in Burj Khalifa, like on the top, you get a gold cappuccino.
Yeah. Gold cappuccinos are quite common in Dubai.
Oh, speaking of really good cappuccinos, when we went for the brunch at Ritz-Carlton, Blue Jade, they have this Vietnamese coffee that they put egg white on top.
Ooh.
Oh my God, Casey, I know you like coffee, so you have to go for their brunch. It's so tasty, guys. Oh, egg whites on coffee, it's a game changer.
That's something I'm going to have to question, egg whites on. Like, I love coffee, like my eggs. Do I want an egg white? Or even egg whites in a drink. All right with that. Egg whites on a coffee, I'm going to have to disagree.
You can't. You got to try it before you diss it. You must try it before you diss it.
So I'm not tempted to go and try it. It doesn't it doesn't make my mouth be like, I really want to go and...
I'll tell you, it's like...
when we talk about stuff and I'm like, let's order that right now. When we're talking about like Al-Baik, it's like, oh, I love fried chicken for lunch. You're not doing that with the Vietnamese coffee.
It's the I don't know, the way they stir it, it's like having a marshmallow like mixed in the coffee. Though I don't know what it is,
better.
But it's so good. And it's the egg white that gives it that taste.
Interesting. On that note, if you go and try it at the Ritz-Carlton Blue Jade and let us know your response, if it's a good one. Someone's saying I have a question on Instagram. Let us know what your question is. 17 frames.
I have a question. Is that your question?
That's not a question.
But I have a question.
That
Oh, can I ask a question would be a question. Right.
Yeah, you get.
You know what? You get one of that for life. If I could do that every time you talk, I would.
I love that response. You know what? I'm going to do that forever and a day to you.
You're cancelled.
You're cancelled, Annie.
For your negativity.
Guys, stay with us because, of course, while many of us have been preparing for back to school and back to work season, our next guest and his team have been preparing to get back to the racetracks. Stay tuned. Nick from Team Angel Wolf will be with us right after this. Welcome back to the Lovin in Dubai show. While many of us are preparing for back to school and back to work, our guest right here has been preparing for the back to race season. Please welcome Nick from Team Angel Wolf.
Thank you.
It's so good to have you here, considering the last time we did this was bang in the middle of COVID. So it's great to bring you into the studio.
Yeah, nice to see that things are starting to relax a little bit in
Yeah.
certain ways. But yeah, great to be back. Thank you.
We've documented the Team Angel Wolf story plenty over the last couple of years. It's an incredible community story of inspiring individuals. But for those of you who don't know, can you give us a little bit of an introduction about what you guys do?
Yeah, look, 2014, we started to race for my son with disabilities. Rio was born 2003, and after 6 months, he had his first seizure. So it took us down a whole road of kind of getting to know the world of people with determination. And he's got a very rare chromosome disorder. So it's called 1q44 deletion, which leads to seizures, non-verbal. Most skills for him are quite a challenge. And then in 2014, we were trying to look at something that we could do as an activity. So we started racing together. So we did our first triathlon. That was the sport that I did as a kid. Never having an idea if he would enjoy it. So I swim, pulling him in a kayak. We've got a special bike, sits on the front, and we run together. And yeah, we've kind of done lots of races. We've done 400 plus races. And we've kind of calculated the distance that we've done over the since 2014. So we've covered about 10,000 kilometers of swimming, cycling, running, kind of distance from Dubai to Australia. And Rio just loves it. And I think it's, you know, it's become more than just a father and son. It's a family unit. My little daughter, Tia, who's now 14, she also races exactly as I do. So she swims and bikes and runs with Rio. And again, our focus has always been about inclusion, making sure that Rio's included into the community.
Well, this was exactly my next question, because a coin that you guys actually phrased is inclusive impactivity, because you started as a duo and then it became a family, and now it's a community that you're inspiring. So what actually does inclusive impactivity mean?
Well, look, I think inclusion, especially in this day and age, is that we want to make sure that everyone's equal and everyone's welcome. And that's something that we've done with Team Angel Wolf. And also we want to make an impact in the community and maybe inspire others to go, you know, how can they include others at school, at home, and in different environments? So yeah, it's kind of a nice tag word. And I think it means a lot to us because of how important inclusion is, especially in this day and age. I think we've all noticed that during COVID, we've all been at home, how important family are. So we start with the fundamentals. And I suppose that's what Team Angel was, a little family unit. And as we've grown, obviously, like you said, was friends, families, relatives, community, and how important it is to look after each other. But we're all the same,
But you guys have actually been talking about inclusion long before COVID.
Yes.
You were kind of always your climb with Rio World Tour that happened pre-COVID, and it was kind of inspiring people at the end of every month to climb a peak. So then COVID hit.
Yeah.
And we're also going to talk a little bit about racing season in Dubai, which is kicking off. We're super excited about it. But what happened during COVID for you? Like, how was that? Because obviously you're all about people, you're all about getting out of racing. So what was the pandemic like for you as a family?
Look, super stressful. You can imagine a little boy who's non-verbal, had to stay at home for a good period of time. He didn't understand why he wasn't allowed outside. We kind of thought of an activity that we could include Rio. Really simple. I decided to climb up and down my stairs, the equivalent of Burj Khalifa.
You probably saw the headline, guys.
Yeah, it took us like 4.5 hours. But for 4.5 hours, I had my son on my back, and he just smiled and laughed and giggled. And I think for him, it's being active as a family and doing things together. And you just kind of come to realize how important that is to him. And he just loved it. He loved it. Can you imagine sat on someone's back for 4.5 hours? If I put my daughter on there for 10 minutes, she'd be like, Dad, I'm bored.
Well, I'm thinking about him, and I'm also thinking about you, who's doing the climbing here.
But it was just, it was fantastic. And what we did at the same time, because it was May of COVID year, if that makes sense. So it was a few months in, everyone was at home around the world, and then we just kind of did some social media and said, look, who wants to join? And it was just fantastic. We had families joining from all around the world, climbing with us, but not just necessarily climbing Burj Khalifa. They were climbing their own monuments, so the Eiffel Tower, Big Ben, and it was fantastic. And then from there, we've created Climb with Rio World Tour. So for 6 months, we go around the world, and it's slowly picking up, getting schools and kids involved.
Interesting. It's great to hear that it's slowly picking up, because obviously schools are finally back in action, and I'm sure they'll be looking for activities to take part in. But we also shared a story recently about sponsorship for you guys.
Yes.
How is that going, and how important is it for you to actually get sponsorship for this season?
Look, thank you very much. It's really hard. I have to be honest with you. Based here in Dubai, we are a non-profit organisation that comes under the Community Development Authority, which has been fantastic for us. But the challenge here, we're not allowed to fundraise, nor are we allowed to receive donations. So the only way we can exist as an organisation is through corporate sponsorship. So companies sponsor us, we put their brands on us, they become a partner, we do loads of activations, we do corporate talks and stuff, etc. with the company. And it's the only way that we can put food on the table. The other way is we do corporate talks. So sponsorship is so important to us. Without sponsorship, we can't exist. So because we can't go out publicly and say, please donate here, and that funding from the public will run our organization. So and we can all imagine during COVID the first budgets that get hit, CSR, marketing. So for the last 18 months, those budgets aren't there. So the corporations that we've been talking, they're just saying, Nick, sorry, most important thing is keeping the organization alive, keeping the team alive. And we get that, we understand, but as non-profits and all those non-profits out there, they still need to exist. So hence it has been the hardest 18 months
to just take like those possible hits throughout that time.
Yeah, and it's been, honestly, the last 18 months has been put food on the table. But we kind of think, we're lucky we live here in Dubai, there's certain elements of our sponsorship. So I have a roof over our head. So we're sponsored by Sustainable City, for example.
Oh, interesting.
So that's fantastic. So we get a villa. So at least we've got that tick. But yeah, it's been so hard. And we just hope as we come into this new period, organizations might go, we'd like to help the community, and an organization like us, hopefully we'll get some support.
Amazing. So if you've heard that, we'll get some details for you guys to get in touch with Team Angel Wolf at the end of the show. Look, the weather's getting cooler. Yeah. The summer is finally inching towards an end. How excited, how motivated are you guys for racing season?
Oh, look, I have to give a big shout out to all the race organisers. So last week we do kind of like lovely email just thanking everyone for their support and said, look, can you support us? Because the nice thing about all the race organisers, they allow us to race complementary, if that makes sense.
Interesting, because these races aren't always cheap.
No, not at all. So you can imagine
great to hear.
that's a huge cost for us. And every race organisers comes back with the most wonderful emails. They're like, Nick, of course, we love what you do. We love your support. So they've just said, look, open book, come and race all our races. So at the moment, I started to schedule because people keep asking, Nick, where are you racing? Can we come? Can we join? I've had some schools wanting to come. Even if we run the 10K, there's a 5K and a 3K for the kids.
That schools will be getting involved at the weekend.
You kind of go absolutely fantastic. Yeah. So I think I've booked provisionally 20 races up to the end of the year. So we're back to racing every weekend. And it's a busy schedule, but I have to admit, it's just fantastic. We have an opportunity here in Dubai that we don't have to travel so far. So I was speaking to some friends in Australia the other day, and they were like, how do you manage to do so many races? And I'm like, they're all here. So if I was based in Melbourne, you would have to travel a long way to get to a race to do a triathlon. But we're very lucky, very fortunate. So, I love it. And I'll be honest with you, for me, I love racing, so I don't like training. I find it monotonous going for a 10K run, but I love training, racing. But the nice thing is, the community embraces Rio. So every time we come to a race, people come over, say hello to Rio. So for me as a father, I just love that. And one thing that I've learned over the years is, people come and say hello to Rio before they say hello to me, and I'm like, that's what inclusion's all about. So going to races, Rio loves it. So there's people, there's integration, and for me, it's almost like therapy. And then we're out racing because he's happy. So it's wonderful, and it's something that we do. And my daughter, obviously, she comes and tier races with me.
Of course, I wanted to give like a quick shout out to Tia, who's an absolute star, because obviously she's growing up in a racing family, but now she's very much like carving her own way. And I'll always see like her Instagram, she's like came third, came first, like in the women's races. So she's just doing it on her own.
Look, and I think for her, what we found over the years, she's finding her own way. It's something that we've never pushed her into it. So we don't say, oh, you must race this weekend. I'm like, Tia, I'm doing this at the weekend. Do you want to come? She normally will say, yeah, I'll come. And then we're trying to decide what distance she wants to do. And it's just absolutely fantastic. And, when I did my first live school talk this week, which was just fantastic. So for the last 18 months, I've had to do them on Zoom. So this week we went into one of the schools, Amity, up in Alcaces, which was just absolutely fantastic. So I did a live talk to the children. And, there's a part in my talk where I show a video of Tia racing with Rio. You can see all the kids, they just love it. And then we ask for questions. They're all about Tia. And you just kind of go, because she's the same age, they're relating to Tia. I'm just the old dad that drags his son around a race. But you just kind of go, that's such an inspiration. And I don't think she realizes that, but she's a good girl, very humble. It's great to see her out there. It's also great for me, I'm out racing. So we did a race the other weekend, an aquathon in Sharjah. So we literally start together. Tia, I'm pulling Rio. Tia overtakes me on the swims because she started behind me, and I'm like trying to run. I'm like, okay. So then I'm on the run because I'm, I would say a bit stronger than Tia. So I'm trying to catch her. So I don't catch her; she beats me. I just love that. You know what I mean? And then we're at the end, and we're all high fives and big hugs. And I just think, it's just fantastic. It's just fantastic not only to be doing something with Rio, but my daughter's there with me. And then 100%. There's now you start to see as well in this season, if she wants to race with Rio, that's just magical. And obviously when she races, I follow her just for safety. The race organizer was super happy with that. But it's just it's inspiring for me as a dad. Yeah. You know what I mean? To be swimming and Tia's pulling a kayak, and then she's cycling. I'm cycling next to her with Rio. And I just, I think it just makes a huge impact. We're going back to the same thing, to the community. I think people are starting to see that, starting to recognize who we are and how important including this little boy, Rio, who's now not little, 18, a young adult, into the community. And I think for us, I think it always goes back to the basics. It's sport. Sport breaks down barriers. Look at the Paralympics at the moment. 100%. Just how fantastic that is. And, when we're on a start line, we're with everyone else. We're starting together. We're all included. And when we cross the finish line, we've all got a common story that we've all just collected together over the last, whatever that race distance was. And I think for us, that's super important. And it's, again, it goes back to inclusion and Yeah, just love it. And yeah, so to answer your question, lots of races, lots of weekends.
Lots coming up. Look, I love that too. Just health, fitness, well-being is so super important. If you're a parent, a teacher, a student, and you're listening, Team Angel Wolf is available to go to your school, to give these talks, to inspire the kids to get out. They can know the schedule that you've got coming up, and they could be there with you. So important to start from an early age, and you guys are really inspiring that. So it's so great.
Look, and just to jump in there, you know, for me, the next generation are going to be looking after this planet. So anything that's positive and impacting their lives, from health, fitness, sustainability, and that's literally what our life is all about. I think at an early age you can, I wouldn't say mold, but I think if we can get some lovely positive habits in children from an early age, that can set them up for life.
Yeah.
And I just love doing school talks. I just fantastic how we engage with the kids. And you know, literally, the children almost wouldn't let me leave the other day. There was just so many questions, and it was lovely because all the children related to the story for different things. So I'm ex-military. A couple of boys asking about the Royal Marines.
Oh, wow.
I mentioned about art because I studied art in France, in Toulouse. A couple of girls were like, "Oh, so tell me about being a designer. What was your goal?" And I was like, "Yeah, I wanted to design cars." And then there was the fitness aspect, and you just kind of go, there's something connecting with those children for all their different reasons within our story. And you just kind of go, yeah, fantastic. If that can have a positive impact, we're happy.
Positive impact. That's all what it's about. We need to wrap it up.
Yep.
But could we get a quick snapshot? What are you doing this weekend if people want to join you?
This weekend, I don't know if you've seen, we've got a couple of new activities. So we have a motorbike with a sidecar that the community supported. So Fridays we do Ride with Rio. So what we're trying to do over time is look at how do we connect outside the world of triathlon, because a lot of people don't swim, bike and run. So we go out with the motorbike, we're getting obviously people to join us. Starting to do some car rides. You mentioned about Aston Martin. I'm in chats with them to do a drive with Aston Martin. So we went out with the Harley Davidson groups recently, went out with Land Rover. So we've been doing lots of great things. So again, it's all about inclusion. So how can I include Rio with different activities? So our Ride with Rio, we go from Sustainable City. Just please message us and we'll tell you all the times and the details. So we go out for a ride on the motorbike. So we take Rio, Tia's behind me. So we go out and go for a breakfast or whatever. So fantastic. So another different way of an inclusion. And then on Saturday mornings, I generally cycle, bottom of the stick, 6 o'clock, and do 60 kilometers with Rio, which I did yesterday. I'm still sore.
I would be too. 6 a.m. bottom of the stick at Al Qudra. Nick, as always, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you
really
for having
appreciate
me,
you coming
as always.
in. Guys, that is it for us on the Lovin Dubai show. We're back with you every single weekday morning, same time, safe place. Stay safe and wash your hands.